Every day, my company gets scam phishing emails trying to get money or sensitive info. I wanted to protect my employees and my clients, so I checked out CISA's Secure Our World. They've got simple ways we can protect our businesses from online threats. First, teach employees to recognize and report phishing. Next, require strong passwords plus multi-factor authentication. And finally, turn on automatic updates for your business software. To learn more, go to CISA at cisa.gov/Secure Our World.
You are listening to the Hiking Radio Network, where we talk the walk with shows by hikers about hikers for everybody.
I'm wondering if you'd go wandering with me through the wilderness and woods to where the winds are blowing free, through the darkness of the night, heading toward the morning.
Welcome to the Jester Section Hiker Podcast with the spotlight on section hikers.
And I'll spread the word and you beat the drum. We'll round up the troops and get the gang to come. And we'll leave the streets and these neighborhoods, head over the river and through the woods.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Jester Section Hiker Podcast, which is part of the Hiking Radio Network of shows. And I'm your host, Julie Jester Gayhart. Each week, I try to give the episode that is coming out a catchy little title that will give everyone a glimpse into what the episode might actually be about. This week's episode with Jennifer Browndorf is titled One Segment at a Time. The ironic thing about this is that I titled the show even before I had a chance to chat with Jennifer, just to see if we were on the same page about what we wanted to discuss. As you are about to hear, I think we were. Jennifer is out section hiking the Mountains to Sea Trail, but you will hear her strategy is not just to get in the miles, but to soak in everything that each of the 18 segments has to offer. Thanks for coming back for another episode of the podcast. And if you are new to the show, thanks for joining us. And now on to my chat with Jennifer.
Oh, to go to a hostel? Like, what is that? How's that work? Because it'd be the first time I'd done it. So in my mind, I was thinking through, like, is this going to be okay? Like, am I going to be accepted? It turns out I was, so it was good. It was okay.
So, you know what's really cool is I just hit the record button when you said that.
Oh.
Because I wanted to capture that. And we're recording right now, so We're going for it. So, hey, Jennifer, welcome to the podcast.
Hello. How are you?
I am good. And listen, I always wanted to do that. And I hope it captured what you were saying about going to the hostel.
Yeah.
Because I always have awesome conversations before I hit the record button. And then I hit the record button and I guess it turns into this, I get these like, me personally, I get these like Cindy Brady moments where I see like the red dot and I go, oh no, you have to be real professional and you've trained for this and you know what to say.
Yeah,
so
it helps keep it more casual and spontaneous when you don't see that red button.
No, you had no idea I hit the button. So that's awesome. That's okay.
Yeah. And yeah, definitely I have those moments where I think about my age or my maybe even my lack of experience. Will I fit in? I think everybody feels that, at some point. Like, am I going to fit into this trail thing, to this hiking thing? Am I going to fit into the hostel? Am I going to fit into this campground? Am I going to fit, into the outfit?
I don't know about campground, but yeah.
Yeah, sometimes I'm like, oh, there's so many trailers here. I'm in a tent.
Well, this has been an awesome beginning. And I got to tell you, I never know how to introduce a show. That's just the number one thing that I could never figure out, like, what's the perfect intro? And I think we just had it. So I say we go with it. So you guys didn't hear the cover right before I hit the record button and Jennifer was talking about fitting in at a hostel. I was actually asking her if it was okay if I mentioned, along with myself, that we are women of a certain age. And when we had our first conversation, I actually found out you and I actually have a lot in common.
We do.
We're fellow hikers. We are fellow educators. Mm-hmm. We love being out on trails. We love giving back. And one of the things that I'm actually hoping you'll speak on is what I am striving to do right now, I'm getting ready to reach that middle age point of life. And I want to kind of change the trajectory. Is that a word? Yeah, that's an educational word. Trajectory of my course of action and how I do things in my life. So let's start off, tell us, what you did when you reached that midlife age and kind of how you geared yourself toward that. And that'll kind of lead to what you're able to do now. And I love your Mountains of Sea Trail shirt you have on, by the way.
Yes, I'm representing today. I am a woman of a certain age, and I recently retired from education. And upon doing so, it definitely opens a lot of opportunity for time to reflect on what do I want to do with the rest of my time. And, I had planned to retire at a certain age, and I knew I wanted to continue to be in education. So I did pursue another job. Currently I work for the North Carolina State Park System, and still in education, but in a part-time role. So I chose to back it down a bit and leave myself some time to, explore outdoors more, because that's what I'm passionate about. And that's what I'm a lifelong learner, I guess, as well. And so I'm always like, oh, what can I learn? What can I do? What can I participate in? And I think that as you age, I think that's really important to keep you young, is to keep doing things that you love, or keep exploring, topics that you want to learn more about, or maybe you want to, meet more people and that have the same passions and, get into different groups. So that's what I'm doing right now, is feeding my passions, which I am so grateful for. Oh my gosh. Every day I wake up and I'm just like,
I'm telling you right now,
I am so grateful.
I wish sometimes people could see the video, because I'm just noticing in your background, you actually have a whiteboard. I can tell you're a teacher,
right
and
there.
I can't see what's written on it, but it's like all kinds of stuff, and I love it.
That's my job. I have some things I need to do for my job, so I keep them there. And then on this side, these are my trail maps. Are over here.
Oh, she's turning the camera. So that is awesome.
So I have my fun side and my work side. And my forever learning side. There's all my books.
Books after books.
Yeah, to learn about North Carolina, specifically a lot of the plants and animals and geology. I've lived here for 27 years. I'm not a native of North Carolina, but I'm loving learning so much about the outdoors by being outdoors, by actually experiencing the geology and looking at the spring flowers and, watching the trees. And so, the trail has offered me a lot of outdoor classroom opportunities for myself. And then I can translate that into my work side.
Which is great. Which right now, I so wish you guys could see this, because she's kind of sitting right in the middle, in between the fun side with all the maps and then the work side. So you got one toe in one side, one toe, which is great.
Yeah. And that's how I kind of spend my weeks and my months are balancing, work and the trail goal that I've set for myself this year.
I love it. And I'm jealous.
Yeah, I know. Again, I'm so grateful, because I do have a lot of folks that reach out and they're like, wow, I wish I could do that. And I said, you can, it takes a little planning, or it takes a little what's the right word? I guess it's planning, but so the way you want to prioritize things, but you can still get out there. And like you did the 40-day hikes. I mean, that's a great way of getting started on the trail. And I've noticed a lot of people doing that, and then they fall in love with the trail and the idea of, I could push myself a little bit farther, and they're off, doing a segment. So,
and that's cool. Exactly what happened to me. Those 40-day hikes have driven, I mean, honestly, so much as far as the podcast goes, people that I've met, it's actually been phenomenal. And the really cool thing, and I need to do this more often, when I went into the 40-day hikes, I had no expectations. It was just something that I was like, oh, that's cool. People kind of like, hearing me out on the trail. And I like doing it more than the more formal, like you and I are doing, just recording on my phone and kind of,
It's
giving
fun.
people this side. It's fun.
I did it. Yeah, I was on my first longer segment. I brought my phone and was like, hey, I'm talking to myself. But it was so fun to like say, this is what I'm doing this morning. And this is what I'm excited about. And this is what I'm looking forward to, or whatever it is. And I don't know if anybody watches it, but I'm excited to talk about it. So
yeah, and share it. So
yeah.
Well, now that people kind of know, we've put ourselves in, and I've put myself out there before that I am a woman of a certain age, and we're fellow educators. And even this morning, we're having like my school, we're Titans, and we're having like Titan Picture Day. And I just said, God, I feel like it's Halloween. Like I just should not be. I feel like I'm dressing up to do something.
Yeah, and I just I'm sort of dressed down, but I did want to represent with my.
Listen, I would rather do that every day. Don't worry.
Yeah, and this shirt, I thought it was appropriate to wear because, and I'll tell everybody, it's the 12-mile challenge, Mountains to Sea challenge. Running T-shirt for one of the years that I ran, and that was another reason to kind of become a section hiker, was because I've spent a lot of years being a trail runner, and one of my favorite races is the Mountains to Sea trail race. It's my first race was in 2010. And I've raced it 2010, 2013, 2015, 2016. And then I did the 50K of 2017. So
oh my God.
I'm like, yeah.
You're like a monster.
It's my section, my Falls Lake section. And I just love going out there. And it's the section that I first started with Jeff Brewer back 2008. Was probably my first trail work day, because I think I just got a Facebook memory post of my day, my first 5-hour day out on the trail, cutting trail on Falls Lake. And
let's go back for a second, getting into that. So, we've laid ourselves out on the line. We're women of a certain age. We obviously have a shareable love for the Mountains to Sea trail. And when you and I were chatting originally, I was like, oh my God, we have so much in common. But what we don't have in common, I'm kind of doing the reverse. So like you just said, you actually started, you were a trail runner and you started doing trail maintenance before you actually started section hiking. Yep. So what kind of led into that? And then that'll kind of bring us, let's just have a conversation, see where that goes, because I find that very interesting.
Yeah. And I remember back, 2008-ish, or maybe even a little bit before then, I was just thinking about how could I give back to the trail running community and, giving back to the trails. And I wasn't necessarily thinking of myself as a hiker at all. I was definitely thinking of myself as a runner, because I use a lot of the local trails all the time to train. And I noticed, they need support too. So I found the Mountains to Sea trail, I think from a book. A friend had given my husband and I some hiking books, and I was like skimming around and I found it. And I was like, oh, wow, let's check this out. And then there was an announcement for work days. And I was like, ooh, I love a hard day's work. I honestly love.
Okay. You are an anomaly getting excited about a work day. Most people are like, oh, I'd love to, but which is great.
It is something to feel like so exhausted from doing a hard day's work. I don't know. It's a weird thing that I really love it. I love coming home like sweaty and dirty and like sore. but yeah, so I went to work days, and I really enjoyed the people that I had met. And it was a wide range of people, from, kids and families to older adults. And then of course the trail, volunteers that are more of the coordinators, who were really knowledgeable about how a trail is built, because the section I started with was nothing. It was some flags in the woods. And so it was fun to learn the process of, this is how this trail is built that you run on, so it helped. I guess, it's inspiring as well to consider it takes a lot of work to create a trail and to maintain that trail.
And I imagine when you do that, you own it now. You're like, this is my piece. Like, I've done this. I put my mark on it. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I remember probably maybe the first or second time I ran the Mountains to Sea trail race, I remember running into not literally, but passing by, I should say, a few of the trail Friends to Mountains to Sea volunteers out on the course as corner marshals and cheering the runners on. And I remember seeing Jeff Brewer there and be like, hey, you built the trail, now you're running the trail. And it was really exciting to see that, like, I supported them, they're supporting me. There's this collaboration between the two, I guess, sports. So it was really exciting. And I continue to help with the trail maintenance even today. And then I guess I never even really thought about hiking the trail until really, like, the whole trail until this year, maybe the end of last year, through the pandemic, kind of came into my mind. But it never even occurred to me that I should hike the whole thing until now. But I've been working on it for years and running on it for years in small, my little area, my section of the trail.
So what made you decide, okay, I'm going to section hike this versus through hike this? Because it would seem, you've hit the retirement years. Hey, why not, right? Take off the whole chunk?
Yeah.
But I am very happy that you're a section hiker, of course.
Yeah.
But talk us through that process.
So, I thought that, the AT was the only trail, for one, like, that you could, be a real hiker if you could only.
Listen, I thought that for a long time too. It's okay.
Yes, I know. And it took some, maybe my maturity, my age kicked in. I was like, no, I don't have to do that. I can, what are they? They don't, there's other things. There's other ways to do things.
Exactly.
So, I had been speaking with a friend and we were just chatting about, what are you going to do with your retirement? And I said, I'd love to hike a long trail. And then we got to talking and she said, you don't have to do it all in one. Why would you have to do it all in one? You could break it up. And because I was saying, well, I'm not sure I could be away from my family that long. And I have a dog and a husband. My kids are grown, but I like them. And I
like how you said you have a dog and a husband.
Not in that order. I have a husband and I have a dog and I love them both. Yeah. And so I was just chatting, and then I guess at the same time, I actually started to listen to your podcast. And because I had started, I guess it's the Hiker, maybe I'll get this wrong, I don't know, the Hiker Radio Network.
Yeah, the Hiking Radio Network.
Hiking Radio. And then I was looking more into podcasts because I had more time to walk the dog and spend. So, and then I saw there was one, like, just section hiking, and I was like, oh, let me listen to this, because maybe this is gonna, I'm gonna learn something. Again, the life learner.
Well, I hope you did.
I did, and I was like, yeah, it's totally doable to think about, just like with lots of things, like even trail running, to do it in sections. Do what you're capable of now and with your, current conditions, and you can do it in sections, and it's just as valuable, and maybe even more so, because you can really for me, I feel like I'm really focusing on each of the sections or segments that I might be doing, and really trying to get a lot out of the experience. And maybe it's a little different with through hiking, where you're just kind of like, I don't know, because I've never through hiked, but I feel like maybe I might have a different experience through hiking versus section hiking. And I'm liking what I'm experiencing with section hiking.
And it is a totally different experience. And I think, I'm pretty sure, I hope I don't get this wrong. Mm-hmm. You joined Wheezy P and I for our section hiking prep. You were actually on the Zoom calls. Yeah. So
yes. And that was super helpful. I was taking notes and writing things down.
I saw you taking notes. I was like, I don't know who this woman is, but I love her.
I write a lot of things down. And I'm a beginner. So I'm a beginner hiker. I went hiking as a kid, but I still consider myself a beginning backpacker and, overnight camper, outdoor, all this, the idea of being alone is all new to me. So reaching out to folks like yourself or other people that were on the trail that I've met through Instagram, or, just trying to build up my own background knowledge is, again, the lifelong learner. I got to learn it all or try to figure it out as I go. So that definitely was inspirational and helped solidify, yes, I'm going to do this. And so once I made that decision, then I started to think about, okay, well, how's this actually going to play out? Like, if I say, yes, I'm going to do this, Usually if I say, I'm going to do this, I'm definitely going to do this.
You're going to do
I
it.
do,
and one of the
not like a DNF on next to my name. Like,
no,
I
don't either. Believe me.
So I'm like, okay, I'm going to try my hardest to make this happen. So,
but you're doing something really cool. You're absorbing all this information, you're a lifelong learner. And what I think is really cool, when you said this to me a couple weeks ago when we chatted, and what I'm learning to do as a hiker is absorb everything I can get out of that section. For example, it took me 2 weeks. I took 2 weeks and hiked segment 5. Now, most people could get segment 5 done in like, a week or whatever.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, people are going to think, what is she doing? 2 weeks? I'll tell you what, I had the best time at these campgrounds, these places to eat. And it's like, yeah, man, I was able to get in a great hike. I'm staying at great places. I'm meeting awesome people. And I think you're doing that too. So talk us through, I'd like to hear, and you could pick any segment you want. I know you just completed segment 3 or 4. I can't remember.
3 and 4. So, kind of going backwards.
For everybody, there's 18 segments out on the Mountains of Sea Trail. And really, as a section hiker, you just pick one and you go for it, because each segment has its own unique attributes, is what I'm learning and what I've learned. So for everybody that's out there that's new to section hiking or an experienced section hiker, I think this would be good information. Kind of walk us through your process of, okay, I've picked this segment, and then what do you do? From like, just spew it out, like the research, all that stuff.
Yeah. So I live in the Piedmont region of North Carolina, and like you said, there's 18 segments. And so for me, when I started, I thought about, well, what am I capable of, and what am I, what's my level of ability. And of course, definitely up on the safety. I wanted to be safe for myself. So I started small and worked from my local area, the Falls Lake area, and decided to do kind of day hikes. And I just kind of went out from there and did my local section, or segment 11. And, with day hikes, light pack, kind of getting things going, started off small. And then, and I was super familiar with the trail already. So I had this high level of kind of confidence, I guess. And then that snowballs into, okay, now I did that. And then then I started to, expand a little bit from each side. And I've been going eastbound and westbound, depending on the opportunity for a ride or my work schedule and things like that. So that definitely plays into it, is the work schedule. And then I started to think about, there's road walking on the mountains to see. And I thought, well, I also like to bike ride. I've done triathlons, and I enjoy riding my bike, locally and for exercise. But, I thought, well, hey, let me see how this kind of like, I can section hike by biking it. And so I started biking the road sections, which offered another whole experience for me. And I would do those in I guess, smaller bits. I would get a ride to one end and a shuttle back, or I'd go with a friend and we'd leave a car and at each end, and we'd shuttle ourselves back and forth. And so that again, built up my confidence. So each little bit that I did out from my home built up my confidence to then take a bigger and do a whole segment. Which my first segment was segment 5. And I had read in our trail books.
She's got the guide up, everybody.
Oh, I have the guides, and they're all really worn out.
They are, man, that thing is used. That's awesome.
Yeah. So I and this was the first, I bought this one a while back, and I remember I was so excited the day I got it, the Piedmont section. So I read through these, and I sort of listened to the, more of the experts, and they had suggested that segment 5 was a good start. Ability wise, it's not too hard, but it gives you a taste of elevation. It gives you a little taste of, the mountain feel, but yet it starts a little bit lower elevation and works its way up depending on direction you go. And it had campgrounds, and then it also had backcountry camping. So you had like this little experience, you could dabble in it and then get a little further along as you felt more confident. So that's why I decided to do 5 first, and then I ended up coming back and doing other sections in the Piedmont. But my longest segment to start with was segment 5, and I did that alone. That's another thing. I'm generally an introvert. I think if there's a type of person, I guess I'm like a high functioning introvert. I find joy in being alone and being on my own. But I really do like to, hang out with friends and family. So I wasn't necessarily afraid or nervous about being alone on that whole trip. A lot of people ask me, oh my gosh, what are you all scared? What you're going to do it by yourself and all this? And I was like, I'm actually kind of excited because that's my happy place. I'm doing it alone and it's great. And, so, yeah. And like I said, it built up my confidence, the way the trail goes from, sort of easier to more difficult in that segment. And then that got me into segment 4, which I finished, or I did part of, and then I hiked myself out. I had a little injury with my eye, so I had to kind of walk out. My husband met me and brought me home. And then I found some other folks to hike with and got out into the mountain section, more of the mountain section 4, the Linville Gorge area. Is tough.
Gorgeous.
It's beautiful.
Tough.
It's real tough. And so I reached out to somebody that had more experience to help to pair up and hike a couple of a part of the segment together, because I was less familiar with the camping there. And I wanted to be sure I was doing, staying in a good place. And I had sort of a buddy to be with while I was out there. So that helped a lot. Again, it's about building up your skill level, your confidence, your experiences, so that you feel better going out there alone and you can, make good decisions while you're out there. And so then I did a little bit of that section with somebody, but then the rest of it, I was like, all right, I got this. I reached out to a trail angel, got my rides and did my own hiking and camping and finished the section on my own. So that was exciting. And then that propelled me into the next segment, which was segment 3, which is Asheville area and Pisgah Inn, kind of, Black Mountain to Pisgah Inn. And
another awesome area.
Oh, amazing. Up Mount Mitchell. Whoa, I've lived here 27 years and I had never been there. Oh my gosh. I was like, yay, at the top.
And that climb up out of the Black Mountain campground, that's always, that's a good one.
That's a good one. It's a beautiful spot. And I saw a lot. That one was very busy, which was fun because I could, chat with people and kind of, and feel the motivation and the excitement that everybody was kind of feeling, because they were all doing this same goal. They were all like, we're going to make it to the top. They didn't have like the MST on their mind. They had Mount Mitchell on their mind. And so did I, because I had never done that before. So at that point I was really pleased to reach that goal, like a tiny little goal, but it was
well,
really
if you ever
exciting.
want to veer off the MST and hang out at the Black Mountain campground.
Oh yeah, it's fun.
I still have the goal of going up to Mount Mitchell and then doing the Black Mountain Crest Trail.
Okay. Yeah.
Going over, I can't even think of all the peaks.
Yeah. They're all
Mount Craig.
They're all like 6,000 and above, right?
Yeah, like Winter Star. And I want to do that. And I don't want to backpack it. I want to do it like in one go.
One go.
So you're a trail runner. You got this.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's helped me a lot being a trail runner, because I have trail running, you're in your head a lot because you're by yourself a lot and you're out in you just got to keep going. There's only one option, just forward. Just keep going forward. You'll eventually get to the end. And that's kind of, I can do that. I can get, in my zone and just keep hiking and just
go for it.
Keep running. Yeah.
So what is your strategy for finishing? Are you trying to do this thing in a year? Are you, because I know at one point you and I chatted, it's almost like, oh my goodness, I'm actually going to finish this. Am I getting sad, or what am I supposed to do here? Yeah,
I definitely feel like I will finish it. Unless there's an injury or some unforeseen thing.
You feel like this year or beginning of next year?
I think I'll finish it even sooner than I thought, because again, my work schedule is opened up and I've got like time here and there. I'm going out tomorrow to do segment 13. I'll do the whole thing in 2 days, but I'm going to go through the Bay Lakes, segment 13 is a coastal section, flat, and it'll go through 2 state parks. So that's cool.
Awesome.
It'll be Jones Lake and Singletary Lake. And so there's some game land, and I'm trying to hit that before September 1st because the hunting season opens, and kind of want to get a little in there before that happens. And so I think I'll finish it before the end of the year, but I'm also, my strategy to finish it is just keep going. That's a real good strategy, right? Just keep
Wait a
doing
minute,
it.
wait a
And
minute. Just keep going and
Yeah.
then start over, right?
Maybe. I'd like to do some like that, or I'd like to do some additional trails in North Carolina. I'm really liking, exploring my state. I call it my state now because I've been here for so long, and really, looking at all the different trails and experiencing them where they intersect, because that's kind of cool too. I love trail intersections because you're like, oh, what's over there? And then that opportunity, like maybe I should go back to that spot and go that way instead of this way. So so where the trails kind of intersect and connect, I guess there are two things. Yeah, like they cross, but they reconnect somehow. But yeah, I'll definitely finish. And I was discussing this with my daughter the other day, like, where should I finish? Because typically lots of hikers, they start at the east and go to west, or they go from west to east and they finish it in one of, the terminuses. But I've started in the middle. I guess that's kind of like a flip flop. I don't know if that's the right. I've heard like if you start and then you go one way and then the other way.
Yeah, that would be.
I've been flipping and flopping the whole time. And I don't know which direction I want to be my like ultimate finish. The Klingman's Dome and yay, I'm done with the whole trail, or Jockey's Ridge, yay, I'm done with the whole trail. So I have those two sets. I've saved those two spots for like, what am I going to do? But my daughter says I should do Jockey's Ridge because that's always been a place. The Outer Banks have always been a place that our family has vacationed. I honeymooned there. We go back every year to visit the area. And I was like, you're right, honey. So
there you go.
So, and she'll come out, the family will come out and maybe be there to be like, yay, mom,
Well, listen, I'll throw this out there to you because I know originally you said Klingman's Dome is where you wanted to finish.
Yeah.
So if you want to hike Klingman's Dome down to, I can't remember, the Okanalefty Visitor Center. I hope I said that right.
Yeah.
I'm going Labor Day weekend with another MST completer. Her name is Kansas. Yeah. So if you want to go, we're just going, for a couple nights, but it'll knock out
that section. Yeah.
That overnight
two
section.
And 1 or 1 and 2 to finish. We'll have to see. I think I might be out of town that weekend. Anyway.
Well, I'm throwing it out there if you want to go.
That sounds like a great invitation. Thank you.
We have a campsite at Spokemont. You're more than welcome.
Oh, that's great.
But we're going to go up. She's going to do the day hike. She's working on the day hikes. And I said, well, that's cool, but I need to do all the way down to the visitor center. And she's like, all right, we'll stay out overnight. So I'm throwing it out there to you.
Yeah.
If you want to knock that off here in a couple weeks.
Yeah.
Actually, like it a week. Really.
Mm-hmm.
I know. It's crazy. Time is flying.
Fast. Yeah. I'm sure I can finish. Well, I know I can finish it. I will finish it.
Well, of course.
The other part that's, and sometimes I guess some of your listeners might enjoy the diversity. And I wanted to mention this, the diversity of the trail in that there's hiking, trail, single track kind of, but there's also the road walking and greenway walking and fire road walking and gameland walking, there's all this diversity. And then there's also the paddle. There's paddle options, which I think are really cool. And so that was a huge, brand new thing for me because I was, a runner and a hike, outdoor on land, but then you add in the option to go out on the water and become, a paddler. That was super exciting. So I did do part of the segment 11 on the Noose and planned with a friend of mine. She really liked to kayak. So she had more of the experience on the kayak. I had more of the camping and the gear and what we should bring. And so we worked together and went out and did 30 miles of the Noose. And I'm hoping if the weather and the river cooperate, I'll be able to get back there and do that section, which will then make it so that I've done both options.
I knew that was coming. Well, we predicted that from the beginning, so we could.
Yeah, which would be great if I can do like all the paddle and all the coastal crescent. That'd be pretty exciting.
That is awesome. And I have heard at NC Trail Days, there were several MST section hike completers there that are now working on the paddle sections.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually got to go out. I think I did 6.5 miles of the paddle. So
yeah,
there you go.
And I think there's options in the Yadkin area plus the Cape Fear. So you're getting 3 rivers, options in three sections or 2 sections, and 3 different rivers, which is really cool.
Which is really awesome.
Again, I'll keep building those experiences. It's pretty fun.
So listen, Jennifer, we didn't even get a chance to talk about this. First of all, thank you for coming on the show. I feel like you and I can just chat for hours.
Yeah.
Second of all, thank you for just allowing me to hit the record button and see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
And because I did that, I didn't get a chance to ask you if you had something that you wanted to read at the end, or something that you wanted to leave the listeners with. So if you do, I would love for you to do that now. I think that'd be great.
Okay. So, I'm not like a huge, obviously I read and things like that, but I don't necessarily draw a lot of inspiration from, quotes or things like that, but I do find inspiration from people and experiences and things like that. And I think I have, in the past, I've had a love for travel in the sense of taking sort of a road trip or taking, a journey, I guess. I remember there's 3. So in 5th grade, I took a long, road trip with my grandparents, and we drove through east of the Mississippi, a bunch of different places. I just continually remember things about that inspire me to continue to do things outdoors. And then in high school, I was an exchange student, and I lived in Norway for a year. And that was an amazing, I just said, I'm leaving, I'm going there. And I lived there with a family for a year. And I learned so much about that journey, during that journey, that continues to inspire me. And they have a thing there called, it was one of my classes. It's called Free Life, Outdoor Life, or it's if you translated it literally, I think it's free air life. So just being outdoors and getting that fresh air. And I took that was my PE class. It was the best. We hiked, we canoed, we camped, we went cross-country skiing. It was the best ever. So that experience. And then going to college, I lived in Florida, but I went to college in New Hampshire, and being out in that environment. And then I never went back home. I moved to New York City and got a city job and all that stuff. But I think I find, inspiration in my own experiences. And so, I would ask people to really think about what they can learn from their own experiences and use that as the tools to kind of push you forward. But I guess recently I was watching, I don't know if you've seen this show. It's called Alone. Oh
my God, I love it.
Okay. So I didn't know if it was
that's
be weird.
A whole nother episode. Okay.
So I was watching it, and
I'm obsessed with
it.
Okay.
Okay. So you might know, and I was, and like I said, I'm not really drawn to quotes or anything like that, but the one contestant, he had something and he said it, and then it sort of became a quote, I guess, or became sort of a thought that came in my head. And then I saw it printed, and I was like, oh, wow, that did speak to me, because now I can see it right there. And I'll read it to you. You can.
All right, let's do it.
Okay. So it is, there's a place called adventure that lives just on the horizon. It calls us forth over the next ridge and around the next bend. It's where life's good stories live, the ones that will be told around campfires or live in our memories for a lifetime and more. But adventure, or nature, doesn't give up her secrets easily. She keeps them hidden from all but the most willing, those willing to pay the asking price. So I feel
my God, I love it.
That's something that I seek out, that adventure or nature. Sometimes adventure and nature are very synonymous to me, because, nature is an adventure, and that it's right there, but you've got to be a bit of a risk taker, or push yourself, or find that confidence to go out there and get it, and go out there and experience it. And I love how he said, nature doesn't give up her secrets easily. So that also kind of speaks to me in that when we do this section hiking, it's really great to slow it down and look and listen. And whether you're interested in, the natural things or the people on the trail or the community, the history, the buildings, whatever you're seeing. But if you really slow it down and you listen, pay attention, you'll learn something. I don't know what it'll be, but you never know what you're going to learn. But it's hidden. Mm-hmm.
You got to be willing to pay the asking price.
The asking price, because what is the asking price? You might, is it time? It's, time alone is an asking price, away from your family. Plus you're asking your family is paying a price at times, or whoever you're responsible to. Yeah. What is it? Is it your health? Because you could say you're getting paid as well because you benefit from all this too. So you're outdoors, you can get a lot of good health benefits and social and emotional, back to the teaching. It's really positive to be out in nature, back to that free life. The time spent outdoors is priceless. I'm willing to pay that price.
That's right. Well, Jennifer,
yeah.
Oh my goodness. Please come back on.
Sure. When I finished and I can say, yay, I did it.
Yes, 100%. When you finish, we will have a whole other conversation because I am sure you will have paid the asking price for the rest of the trail and we'll have lots more to talk about. So Jennifer, thank you very much. Really appreciate you coming on the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I feel like I've, again, made this friend, but I connected with you, on a podcast, and now I'm sitting here with you and we've had conversations. It's really full circle. It's very nice. And
that's right. And we will certainly meet each other in person soon.
Yes. Yeah, that would be excellent. I'd love it.
Sounds great. See you soon, Jennifer.
All right. Bye.
All right. Bye-bye. Thanks so much, Jennifer, for sharing with us a glimpse into your section hiking of the Mountains to Sea Trail. I love the fact that you truly take each segment one chunk at a time and absorb everything that segment has to offer. We will all be cheering you on as you complete the MST. As always, you can go to the hikingradionetwork.com and click on the Jester Section Hiker Show to find all of today's show notes, pictures, and links mentioned in this episode. If you find value in what we do here at the network, please consider leaving us a donation by clicking on any one of the donate buttons found on our website. Thanks for listening, everybody. Be safe out there and happy section hiking.
I'm wondering if you'd go wandering with me through the wilderness and woods to where the winds are blowing free, through the darkness of the night, heading toward the morning light. I wonder if you'd wander with me, and I'll spread the word and you beat the drum. We'll round up the troops and get the gang to come, and we'll leave the streets and these neighborhoods, head over the river and through the woods. You're wondering if I go wandering with you, what kind of trouble we'll get ourselves into. Would it be wrong to tag along with a band of vagabonds? You wonder if I'd wander with you. So I'll spread the word and you beat the drum. We'll round up the troops and get the gang to come, and we'll leave the streets and these neighborhoods, head over the river and through the woods. I'm wondering if you'd come wandering my way. If you ever get lost, or if the trail leads you astray, the music of the pack can always bring you back. I wonder, can we wander away? And I'll spread the word, and you beat the drum. We'll round up the troops and get the gang to come, and we'll leave the streets in these neighborhoods, head over the river and through the woods.
At Grainger, we're for the ones who pay attention to every little detail, the ones who fuss, tinker, and sweat the small stuff. Because you know the tiniest thing can make the biggest difference when it comes to keeping business moving. We get it. We're the same way, offering access to product experts to help you quickly and easily find what you need. So whatever your industry, you know you're always getting professional-grade products. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.